Hi, everybody. Welcome to our live show. I'm John Kasravi doing the JQK live podcast every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. We take your general education questions live and answer them about U.S. immigration law, a very confusing aspect of law in the world that changed a lot, especially under the current administration and all the changes that we're seeing. Coming to you live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And the questions should start flooding in pretty soon, but just ask your U.S. immigration questions and do our best to give, again, general educational stuff, not intended as individual legal guidance. We got to sit and talk about your life and all that kind of stuff in private before I can give you individual legal guidance. But we'll do it there. If y'all want to see the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clips and videos I've done, I've pretty much answered 99% of the questions we're asking. Just go to our YouTube page, JQK Law YouTube, or it's also called U.S. Immigration Talk. But if you really want to get into a scheduled consultation, go to our website or contact us page, jqqlaw.com/contact. That's jqqlaw.com/contact. And fill in the box there so you get some more information. And if it's the kind of case we handle, we'll send you information, some brief stuff, and then ask you to schedule a consultation with guidance on how to do that. Now, if you're interested in a marriage green card case, fiance case, we have the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, 50 plus pages of details. Now fleshes out the whole process. So before you even talk with an attorney, you know what's going on. So you can ask good questions, not generic kind of stuff. That's not any lawyer can answer. You would really get some pointed questions once you know the basics. So download the guide is free. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Download that again. It's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Jordan, one of our regulars says, "Hey, sir, John, what's up? Good to see you. Is legal immigration through marriage adjusting the U.S. harder under Trump? Not yet. Everything's really fresh. Yet to be seen if it's going to be harder under President Trump to do marriage green card cases, adjustment of status, doing the green card case in the United States. We just don't know yet. It's too soon to tell. We're filing a lot of cases. People are in a rush to file. So we've been really busy filing a lot of marriage adjustment cases. This is when someone entered the U.S. It could file for green card in the U.S. based on marriage, whether a green card holder, marriage, or citizen. I'm trying to think if there are any changes. No, not yet. But I'm sure there's going to be much harder. User 38 says, I have a removal order on asylum and VAWA case approved, motion reopened, pending on my safe. We don't handle cases with removal history and all that kind of stuff. So user 38, I'm not a good attorney to ask about that particular scenario. Peter asks, please, my U.S. citizen wife filed for me. We're currently on consular processing outside the U.S. Her divorce decree became absolute February 20, 2024, but was typed wrongly as the 20th of February 2023 when it was supposed to be 2024. I showed her the error after a few months later, and we had already filed the marriage petition. Immediately, she contacted a lawyer, worked on a case. Lawyer had gone back to court. Okay, Peter, I mean, if the divorce was proper and it was completed before you got married, and I think my internet is cutting out, hopefully you can hear me. But Peter, if your marriage was a valid marriage, I mean, the divorce had happened, she was single, you got married, the date discrepancy doesn't make a difference. You just got to correct it and have it properly stamped and all that kind of stuff. You're saying lawyer had corrected the error, blah, 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 correct the error. So it's okay. You should update the government that this error happened. But as long as the divorce was finalized before you got married, it was just a snafu and error on the clerical error. It's not a big deal per se on its own. You just need to have like the stamped documents, judges sign, all that kind of correcting kind of stuff. Cherno says, hi, sir, I'm 221G. I submitted the requested documents. My passport's been 4 months now. No good response. What can I do now, please? Not much. You could, depending if you're applying for an immigrant visa, a green card, maybe you could sue after 6 to 12 months, but I don't know if it's going to do anything. If it's a non-immigrant visa, probably not much you can do there. Sarah, that's yes. Is any executive order effective length of administrative processing? There's been no executive orders that would affect consular processing in general. That would be administrative processing. It's the same as it has been, which is terrible as it was anyways. So no changes there. There's probably going to be a travel ban against Iranians in the next 40 days or so. I thought it was going to happen right when the president comes. He gave a 60-day time period to talk more about it. We'll see. I'm not optimistic, unfortunately. Jasandip says, what is humanitarian reinstatement? Humanitarian reinstatement is this particular scenario when someone has a family-based green card pending and that U.S. citizen or green card holder dies. And usually that case would disappear. But potentially by using humanitarian reinstatement, you have another family member come in the position of that original family member that's potentially keeping the case alive. It's a very complicated case, very hard to get, very time consuming for them to even look at it. So it's something that's there. I try not to be too optimistic when I tell people to do it, but sometimes it works. But that's humanitarian reinstatement in a nutshell, but it's always more complicated than that. Buttersquash asks, how long will I get an e-notification after I submit adjustment status application? You probably won't get an e-notification. You'll probably get a text message if you left your phone number. Typically, we get it, 48 hours after the government gets it. But sometimes the government gets slow, and I've seen it take a week or two. Gil Cherno says the immigrant visa, but the U.S. Embassy tells my passport no response for 4 months. Yeah, which embassy is this, Cherno? Unfortunately, they do annoying things like that. There's not much we can do about it. Gilbert says, good day, sir. Good to see you. First time watching you live from South Africa. Well, good to see you. Thanks for watching. Manchester asks, I'm heartbroken. My mother was supposed to come last Wednesday. She sold everything. Was supposed to fly out as a refugee. And the day of her flight, they canceled. She doesn't even have a home now. That's terrible. I'm really sorry to hear about that, Manchester. The Trump administration is doing all sorts of things for asylum refugee cases and stopping them. We don't specialize in those kind of cases, so I'm not really up on the exact details. I'm really sorry to hear that, Manchester. Bidlaw, do you think EB2 NIW approved but not current cases will be affected on Trump administration? Well, Bidlaw, I do have a worry that these cases where people said they got green card petitions approved, they got to wait for the green card to be approved, where their work was in the national interest of the United States. Imagine someone's a cancer doctor and they're working on like a cure for cancer, and we just do a thing called a national interest waiver, and long story short, potentially give them a green card. There is a worry, and I think it's legitimate, that they're going to be reanalyzing these cases that have not been fully approved yet. Their adjustment of status or consular process not right there. So yeah, because there was a period of time when things got a little bit easier under the Biden administration to get these approved. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go into that. That's something I'm warning clients about right now. God willing, that doesn't happen, because it'll be a disaster. But that's that. Jermarsh, good to see you. Hossein asks, Peter, you're welcome. Hossein asks, I'm filing I-130 for my mom. Do I have to upload my father's death certificate? Thank you for your time. Not as part of the I-130, but for consular processing, you'll need to do that, or adjustment of status if your mom is. Cherno says, U.S. Embassy in Liberia, West Africa. I never dealt with one in Liberia, but in general, when you deal with those embassy there, it's not going to be fun. But I wish you the best. I don't really have an answer for you, Cherno. Sorry. Tanya asks, can I ask you to answer the question from Tanya Dimitro? Let me see if I accidentally skipped that. Okay, sorry about that. Can I apply for extension of B2 visa in the States while waiting for consular date for interview? And can I travel outside the U.S. while waiting B2 extension decision? So, Tanya, there's two parts to your question. First of all, you could apply for an extension. Whether they approve it or not, that's inevitably it's up to USCIS. So it's up to them how strict they want to be about it. And can you travel while a B2 extension is pending? So according to USCIS's internal policy, when you have change of status, if you're on a student visa F1 and change B2, you can't leave or else it voids the case. But if you're extending a non-immigrant visa, you're allowed to travel and come back. But in that case, it doesn't make much sense, because if you have if you want to come back, you're going to need to have a valid visa anyways. So it depends on why you're doing extension. It gets complicated about you traveling on a B2 extension. So there's all sorts of variations about things that could happen and issues. It's too complicated for me to frankly talk about here. But long short of it is, technically you can, but practically speaking, there's a lot you got to think about before you leave on an extension pending. Now it's good to see you, Amy C. Bruin. Good to see you, Amy. You're awesome, but thanks for providing super helpful advice for you. You're welcome. God bless you. Good to see you, Amy. Let's see what's next. Tanya Rain says, how will administration affect K1 visa? We have no news on effect of this administration on practically any visa yet. It's really for asylum, refugee status. That's what they're going through first. But when it comes to visas, nothing has changed yet. Again, yet is the key word. You have to tune in next week and see what it's like. One of those shows coming next week. What will happen? We'll see. Deshaun, good to see you. Good night as well. User 38 already answered your question. I can't answer it. Lep says, please, attorney, can you travel with your green card or refugee travel document? Can you travel? Generally, yes, but there's a lot more goes into your background. I can't say if you could travel, but generally someone can travel with that. But whether you can, I don't know enough about you to be able to answer that question. Angelica says, marriage-based green card update, please. It's really generalized question. There's no update per se that I could say for that situation. There's a million different parts to it, and like it's too generalized a question. Please be more specific. Tribal Chief says, my wife is filing N400 this summer. She's an LPR. We owe taxes. Should I set up a payment plan? Yes. So you're going to deny your N400, your citizenship application, if you owe back taxes. You have to have an IRS plan set up, have a copy of the signed agreement with them. And even then it's discretionary. They'll probably approve it, but you got to have a deal. You got to show you're paying it, all that kind of stuff. It's good faith. And it leaves some space for the officer to have discretion to deny it. But if you have the deal and a plan with them, you're paying it should be okay most of the time. Santa says, can I travel with Form I-551 stamp? Yeah, if it's valid. Lux says, hi, John. How are you? I'm good. Thank you. El Guaro says, I have a Class C misdemeanor. Can I become citizen? It was a year ago. That's not enough information. We have to analyze the specific statute that you were convicted under, see the court record, and see the big picture of what the charges were, and then it'll be able to answer. So that's too generic of information. Rami says, my I-485-based family is pending. Thank you for sharing. Travel says, what's the easiest employment-based green card visa, EB1, 2, or 3? As an employee of a large company, what is the wait like? The wait varies depending on what country you're born in, and it's not about easy or not. I mean, EB1A is really easy if you're an Oscar winner or you won the gold medal in the Olympics. It's really easy. But is it easy being a Olympic gold medal? So the phrasing of the question is not a good way to look at it. What you got to see is just what's appropriate for you, and take it from there. Bosco, good evening to you too. No one says, I think I forgot to mention my paid traffic citations on I-485. I already got my green card. I mean, just save your gnats, I guess. I got to see how many there are. Traffic citations typically are okay, but I always like to list them so they don't come back later and get annoying. Angelica says, what is the timeline for a merit-based green card? I sent my application October 2024. Interview way, biometrics done. It varies 3 to 12 months on average if you're married living with a U.S. citizen. It could be longer though. That's just general things going on. Will it affect naturalization? Probably not. But I got to see all this stuff, and there's always discretion. But it'd probably be okay. But I can't guarantee it. Yadir says, my mother-in-law missed her hearing in court and immigration. No matter what happened, yeah, she got an in absentia removal order. She needs to try to reopen that. It's a disaster, unfortunately, Yadira. Talk with the immigration attorney locally that handles the immigration court. You need to figure out a solution to that possible. Excellent says, I have a 2-year green card. Any trouble for international travel to India? I don't know enough about you. If you're convicted for beating people up, yeah, it's gonna be big trouble. But generic information is not really helpful. That's like, it doesn't help anybody. So we need some more specifics. Okay, Luck says, an overstayed student visa, can she apply for employment-based visa? She can start the process, but you cannot adjust status depending on how long you overstay, but you probably overstay more than 6 months. You'll inevitably need to do consular processing. Okay. How to get a work permit after applying for a VAWA? I don't do VAWA case in my office. I don't ever answer questions about that. Okay, I'm getting people asking the same question over again, so I'm gonna start muting people. Your questions have all been answered. Unfortunately, you're taking up space, so we're gonna start muting. Okay, Yadira, I'll answer your question. Mute. Okay, I guess so many questions. People are just spamming. It makes it harder to get it. So anyone who spams, I'm gonna have to mute you because you're ruining it for everybody. Okay, El Guero, I'm gonna have to mute you too as well. Wasting time on the show, unfortunately, because people are abusive on their freedom. Okay, Praisha says, well, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to. Unfortunately, the way TikTok has to forcing me to lose a bunch of questions when I do that. What is the chance of B2 visa getting approved if I-130 is pending? Oh, everything is 50-50. Should a green card? It's very unlikely, but either it is going to happen or it's not, so it's 50-50. Should a green card holder with pending DUI case? There's no rest of the question. You need to talk to the lawyer if you got that happening, though. Immediately. What is my asylum is not granted, but got master hearing? Can I apply for I-130? I mean, the person petitioning for it can petition for I-130, but whether you could file for adjustment of status, green card, depends on a lot of different factors. So you need to talk to the attorney private. Fernandez, is there an immigration reform you can still apply? If there's immigration reform, can you still apply in that permanent bar? If there's immigration reform, I mean, these are if like I win the lottery, it's like saying what it's not realistic. If it happens, it happens. We'll talk. But some hypothetical situation, I can't really answer that. How long does it take to get a green card? Well, it depends on what kind of green card. It could be a year. It could be 20 years. Elsie says 14 years together, 7 years married to U.S. citizen. Can I apply for marriage green card? Those aren't the questions to ask, Elsie. Download my guide so you get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com, download my guide, and then schedule a private consultation. It's the marriage alone is not the main thing. It's about finances. It's about lawful entry. It's about your background, arrest, all this kind of stuff, birth certificates. Kenny says, heard that residents need to update the I-485 even if the resident card is not expiring. No, that's whoever told you that's take nonsense. How long does K1 visa take from Pakistan? It can take forever, years. Unknown says, how early or late can I renew my green card? It depends on what kind of green card it is. A 2-year green card, you have a 9-day window before expiration. If it's a 10-year green card, it's 180 days or 6 months before expiration. Fernando says, is there immigration reform? We answered that question, that there's no immigration reform. Juanita says, I haven't heard much about DACA. Would you mind talking about that? There's not much to talk about. Got to see what happens. Deshaun says, what is a timeline for parents who have green cards and are filing for underage kids? It's F2A is taking years. It's taking like 3 to 5 years. Mark Sami says, I submitted my adjustment status in asylee, but I've traveled my home country 3 times for short periods. Could this be a issue? It can if the officer wants to make a big deal about it. You're not supposed to use your passport to go to your home country, but sometimes they just let it go. Deshaun says, don't know if my question was already answered. I just answered right now, Deshaun. Nat says, what is the average time frame for U.S. citizen child petitioning for parent, dad? The petition is 12 to 15 months. If the dad's outside the U.S., if in the United States, probably a year to complete the whole thing. The reason I say it's petitions a year to 15 months if they're outside is because you still have to do consular processing, which has its own delays baked into that cake. A lot of repeat questions. Neiman, my wife is under 2023 TPS from Venezuela. Will she have for protection for deportation? Until her TPS expires. So I haven't been keeping up. I know they canceled a certain format of TPS for Venezuela. The Biden administration tried to update, but I think existing TPS is still available. But I haven't been keeping up on it. I frankly don't have any Venezuelan TPS case clients, so it hasn't been on the top of the to-do list to keep up on. My Nicholas says, can I apply for someone in Haiti with a federal record? It depends on what the record is. You got to see what's going on. I've done recently biometrics for asylum. Can I have my status by marrying a U.S. citizen? Depends if you enter lawfully and the rest you satisfy the rest of the timelines. Gabrielle says, what is a number that you call to check you've been deportation proceedings? You would need to have your your alien number if you have that. And if you go to the EOIR website, EOIR, they'll have a online check right there. You can put the number in, or you could call the 1-800 number there. But you have to have your alien number. Are people going through U visa safe? I don't know. Unfortunately. No one knows. That's not just me. All right, people with repeat questions, please don't do that. I'm gonna have to start muting people again. Okay, I start muting people. That's fun. Mute. It's not fun at all, actually, because then it throws all the questions out of whack. So, but what are you gonna do? Okay, let's try to find some questions. You're welcome, Gabrielis. Let me mute some more people. It's just so hard to figure out what's going on when people ask the same question 80 times. How long does it take now to process marriage? I-130 U.S. citizen sponsoring in USA. Take now. Who are you sponsoring marriage? Probably a year. I don't know. Probably. Is military parole in place? Yes, it's still in place. What's the next steps to do if CHG parole got terminated? Depends on the individual and what kind of access they have. I did my interview 10 days ago. I-485 VAWA. It was very easy, but I didn't get approval. Don't know how long. There's no timelines. Can I sign a petition for my wife, American citizen? She's 5 years in the U.S. on a tourist visa. Probably. Schedule a consultation, Mark. Download our guide first, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, and download the guide. But if your wife entered lawfully, you have, your legitimate marriage, you have the finances, she has a clean background, that's something you can do, marriage adjustment. SL says, question, my mom can IR5 visa. She got SSN automatically, but not PR. It's been a month. Yeah, they delay getting the green card out. Call USCIS. When a work permit case is denied, we should pay the fees again, and we send a reopen. It depends on why it was denied. So we got to know that first. Mufark says, what should be the age for adoption of international children? We don't do adoption immigration. How long to get an answer after filing a motion with the court against USCIS deny I-618? There's no timelines on that. User B says, B1, B2 to EB3 unskilled, date current Going on biometrics 2 days. When will I get? I don't know. And the timelines are possible. Becca, how long will it take to change from H4 to F1? 3 months to a year. I think they have premium processing for that if you want to do it faster. How do you get asylum receipt if not sent one after 150 days? Contact USCIS or the asylum office. Butterscotch says, I submitted my I-130A form 1 year ago, and I'm here in the U.S. applying for an AIS. I think the adjustment. I'm not sure what AIS is. And I-130A is for spouse of U.S. citizen. That's like part of it. So Butterscotch, you got to schedule a private consultation. With the stuff you're writing, it's better to have a private consultation. How can you find your alien number? It depends if it's on your green card or if you enter U.S. without permission. You would have had it on your NTA or notice to appear in court. It's in various places. You potentially do a Freedom of Information Act request to see anything that comes up. Marco says, how can sponsoring someone right now impact my finances? If they, want money from you, you have to give it up to a certain amount. I mean, if they use government benefits, they might ask you for it. So Butterscotch, I-130A is not the main form you should be asking. It's I-130 itself, petition. But it's like, who's the petition from? Are you doing adjustment or not? So Butterscotch, there's much more going on in your situation. And the simple questions, unfortunately, like the way it's worded, lack of facts, it doesn't give me the ability to answer. What is petty offense exception for citizenship, please? So petty offense exception, like it affects certain things that are minuscule crimes where they just let it slide. So if you did theft, but it's under a certain amount of money and it was no jail time or something, I haven't dealt with petty offense exception in years, luckily, but it means certain things I would just let it go. Have you received asylum decision? Since I don't do asylum, so I don't have any answers about that. Arab says, after divorce, size 7-1, going to be a lot more scrutinized under Trump? I don't know. I mean, these questions. Butterscotch says, I'm actually now in U.S. and submitted my adjustment status 2 weeks ago, but it's been a year since I submitted my I-130A. So you submit I-130. The I-130 is part of that. Don't keep saying I-130A because it's like a side document. So like it's not a primary one. It takes time. So hopefully they connect the adjustment with it and decision comes. Brain Not Emotion says, can someone apply for citizenship with a dismissed misdemeanor? Probably, but we need to know more facts what it was. Because if it was for beating up your wife, maybe that might still be a problem. Snarl, but probably okay. But you can't just say, I can't say a blanket statement here on the internet about something like that. Snarl says, I'm on pending asylum. My kids come here on parole. What should I do? Add them my kids? Yep. Definitely. Can you file married filing separate head of household if not live with spouse 6 months? Can you file married filing separate head of house? That's a tax question. You should ask an accountant. Sandy says, is it safe to travel AP? I can't say if something's safe or not. I'm not going to comment on like resolutions and bills that are not passed ILR Corona, so I can answer that. F2A and expectations. I don't have any expectations. The thing is, like, a lot of you want me to guess what happens in the future. I'm not Nostradamus. I don't have a crystal ball. I can only tell you what I'm allowed legally to tell you, which is what the facts are today after I have enough facts. So these questions of what might happen or how long this might happen next year, what Trump might do. If I knew what Trump was going to do, I'd go invest in the stock market and become a billionaire. If I knew he was going to play these games. So please ask just real questions. This is not I know it gets clickbait if I talk about Trump, what he may do and stuff. A lot of people are watching, but I'm a real immigration lawyer. So I like to help people. I don't like to just get clicks. Butterscotch, may I know which office is located? How much the fee for consultation 30 minutes? Butterscotch, our location doesn't matter. Please go to our website, jqqlaw.com, finish in the box, and I'll reply to you by email. Our consultation fees vary. So if I say one fee and then someone says you said something in the video, another fee, they get annoyed. So it's really depending on the case, how much time is needed. Please, again, jqqlaw.com/contact and fill out that box there and we'll schedule a private consultation. I'll send you information about the meeting time. Lopi says, are follow the joint asylees safe from deportation? Yeah, if they follow the joint asylees are asylees. They're not going to deport them if they're already here and stuff. Gabrielle says, if I filed for my mom, if I'm a U.S.-born citizen and am 18 years old, mom's outside the U.S., you have to be 21. Your question wasn't best formulated, but you're welcome, Butterscotch. But you have to be 21 to file for your mom. Mark Sami asks, I've been to Sally since 2015 and filed I-130, I-485 with a U.S. citizen wife. I traveled to my home country 3 times. Refugee, can this affect just... Probably not if you're doing a marriage case, but it always can. I mean, I can't guarantee it. It's been the officer wants to be annoying about it, they can. Hombre says, what if you encounter ICE while you're pending decision on 6-1? You let them know that you have one pending, and hopefully they'll be cool with it. And can I apply for employment visa if I overstayed my student visa? Can you already answer that question? You could start the process. I-61 waiver time is taking forever. Yeah, I mean, you can sue for delay. Jake says, if I have a criminal record but was granted U.S. citizenship, just safe to travel nationally now. If you didn't tell them about your criminal record and you've got your citizenship approved, you potentially, if it was a bad enough criminal record, you may be subject to denaturalization. So if you travel and stuff, it could come up, they could potentially to you. So bad move if that's the case. Zion says, I-526 receipt is invalid on USCIS case status. The case status page is a mess. I'm not sure. You can't fully rely on that. Omek says, can I travel with pending I-751? Generally, the I-751 pending is an extension. I don't know, a 4-year extension on your green card. So most people could travel. I don't know if you can because I don't know enough about you to say that. Carla says, work visa without bachelor's possible. HR and work are supportive. Yeah, there are options for that too. Potentially O visas, EB3 if you're going to get a green card. If you have a lot of work experience, potentially you can do H1B. It's harder. Saba says, any change in the fiance visa? Not in particular yet. 903 user 903 says, my petitioner passed away. I had an interview. How will it take the decision to assess? You need to do humanitarian reinstatement. I talked about that earlier in the show. But if it's your petitioner was your spouse, that's going to be automatically changed to a widower case. And so how long it takes for decision, I don't have an answer for that. Nobody has an answer for that. However long they want to take. Lucky 500, what should I bring to my marriage green card visa interview? All the necessary documents, the civil documents, copies of financial documents, evidence of relationship, anything that's particular or unique to you that's different from other cases. Do you think they will appeal TPS? I don't know. Dacha says, what if USCIS asks to do fingerprints? What does that mean? That means they want your fingerprints. They ask people for fingerprints all the time. Jake says they knew everything criminal record prior. If it was appropriately approved citizenship case, Jake, and they knew the criminal record and it was valid to be approved, wasn't a mistake by the officer, then it doesn't matter. They may still hassle you every time you come in the U.S. For some time. Lucky 500, nothing approved marriage. How long does it take for adjustment of status receipts? Typically a week, sometimes longer. All right, everybody, 30 minutes is up. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. I come here and answer general education questions. My throat is burning up. We're also going to stay a couple more minutes. But if you want to schedule a private consultation, email us at jqklaw.com/contact. Again, I'll see you next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific. God bless. Be safe. And yeah, that's it.